Yeah. Tonight, I want to tell you about a friend of mine. He works in a casino. And one day, is dice plural and die singular? Or is die plural? And anyway, he killed 2 people by mistake. Say he's my friend. He's not really my friend. I'm on the jury. I shouldn't say friend, should I? I shouldn't say friend, should I? I mean, very clear, he's not your friend, mate. I see him every day, seems like a nice guy. There's someone else called James on the jury. Got confusing how we got round it, right? Everyone would call him James 1 and me Wolf. I've got to choose my own name. Me and James 1 hit the town, cutting it up. I was making an effort once, dressed to impress, had my best tie on. Paisley makes the girls go crazily. Chatting to a lady at one point. She was lovely. Lovely, lovely lady. She was a masseuse. Big respect. I tried to give massage to partners in the past. Not easy, is it? Not sexy massage, drag your minds out the gutter. Just normal massage. Just normal, just normal massage you do in a relationship, just normal. Normal stuff. Normal. Normally what? You're normally in bed, ain't you, normally, for a massage with your partner? Normally in bed. End of the day, fair to say? End of the day, bed? Don't do a massage in the morning, it's far too decadent. Save it to the end. Lights out, aren't they? Lying down. Completely dark, isn't it? Just lying there. And only one of you knows that a massage is about to take place. If you're not in on it, you're sitting there, you've got your eyes closed, and you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to go to sleep now. I'm going to go to sleep. You're lying there, feeling safe. Just me and a person I trust most in the world. Last thing I'm expecting at this point is an ambush. And then the partner turned to you in the dark, like a coward, spineless, and they'll say, I've got a genuine muscular complaint that I really should get seen to by a trained professional. However, how would you like to improvise a massage on me with your zero expertise? Would I ever? Let's get this light back on. Then the masseuse will assume the position. Which, if you've ever received a massage from a partner before, you'll know the position in question is sitting on them. Again, I don't know if you've ever paid for a professional massage. This move rarely crops up. Palm themselves on your lower back, it's too familiar. Get your partner to do it, get what you pay for, you cheapskate.
I mentioned farting there. I'm good at farting. That's a masculine thing, isn't it? Are you good at farting, sir? No. What's the longest one you've ever done? I haven't timed it. Mine's 14 seconds. Which I think might be a medical emergency. I'm not sure. Somebody asked me, how did I know it was 14 seconds? Genuinely, it was because I was watching Countdown at the time. I'm not laddie, but I have a sort of naughty side, and I call it walrus. And that's because my spirit animal is a walrus. Don't worry, I don't believe in any of this nonsense before I move on. I don't believe in, ghosts or any of that. I hate when people say they believe in ghosts, because they always say things like, I saw a ghost at the end of my bed. It's always in a conveniently creepy place, isn't it? No one ever goes, I saw a ghost in Morrison's. I just doesn't... But I was at this house party, and there was this spirit healer there called Janet, and she was so smug. She had a face on her. She looked like she was constantly pissing into a hot tub and getting away with it. You know, so smug. Which is like, I can tell you what your spirit animal is, Joe. It's a walrus. Well, what do I do with this information, Janet? This is useless. And she said, walrus will talk to you and tell you to do things, and you should listen to that inner voice, to that inner walrus. I shouldn't listen to my inner voice, because it is normally things like, kick that toddler, just a stream of unacceptable things. But she kept saying, listen to the voice. And then she said, I do normally charge for this service. It is normally £30, but as we're at a party, I do it for half price, I do it for 15. I was like, Walrus says you can piss off. But the next day I found this walrus ring online by chance, after searching 4 hours for one. And since I've been wearing it, friends of mine think that it has changed me. They think that I go into myself at social occasions and it's me going, what did you say, walrus? Couldn't possibly kill another prostitute. You know, silly things. But I've noticed that Walrus comes out with real jobs worths. I don't know if you have this in London. In Birmingham, we have an app where you can pay for parking on the app and you don't have to buy a ticket. I tried it for the first time. You put a location code in, put the code in, went into a nearby coffee shop, had just got my coffee, and a parking enforcement officer was next to my car. That's what they call themselves, with his little computer with a pen on a string in case I drop it. Dickhead. I was putting my details in, so I went out to him, I said, I've paid for parking, look, I've got a receipt on my phone, it was 8 minutes ago. And he looked at it and he went, no, this location code is for Leeds. And I said, well, I've clearly just made a mistake, haven't I? And he went, well, I don't know that, do I? I was like, yes, you do. Because if I'm lying, then what you're suggesting I've done is parked in Leeds and then driven 120 miles in 8 minutes. That's what you're suggesting I've done. I've put it into the computer now. You'll have to complain at the office. It's only 5 minutes down the road. Actually, it's about 3 seconds in my hypercar. Got to the office, met sweaty Sharon. Oh, my God. It was so hot in that office. She looked like a bit of wet scrambled egg in a chair, just so annoyed with life. And she had a thick Brummie accent as well. She was talking to somebody in the back office when I went in. She was going, is that you making me a cup of tea, Steve? And then she looked at me and went, the day I hear Steve making me a cup of tea is the day I hear a rocking horse do a plop. That's the weirdest imagery I've ever heard, for a start. And I explained the situation to her, gave her the phone and everything. And she looked at the phone, looked at her computer, back at the phone, and she went, this says Leeds. I know, Sharon, I put the wrong code in. Well, you'll have to complain at the Leeds office. I've not been in Leeds, Sharon. She looks again and she's like, but how did you get here so quickly? You would have had to break the speed limit. I would have had to break the speed of sound, Sharon. So annoyed, so annoyed. I said, is there anyone else I can talk to about this? She said, you could speak to Steve over there. I decided not to speak to Steve for a number of reasons. The main one being, he was trying to eat a yoghurt with a pen lid. I just didn't feel like he was competent. You get a sense sometimes, don't you? So in the end, I just had to leave, kept the fine, paid it, still got it to this day. And after I'd left, Walrus was like, you idiot. You could have done anything in there. You could have killed her. Got the perfect alibi. Where were you when the murder happened?
Theresa May looks like she's entirely made out of bones, doesn't she? She looks like she's made out of the bones that they forgot to put into Boris Johnson. He's the Foreign Secretary. A cross between a head injury and an unmade bed. It's not just that he's the worst person for the job, he might be the worst mammal. There's a lot of racism post-Brexit. I think British people just get immigrants to do the jobs that they can't face doing themselves, which is why Nigel Farage has a German wife. My favourite Farage thing was when he dodged the question of whether he thought Idris Elba should be the next James Bond. And I think Idris Elba would be a great James Bond, because I want to see a Bond movie where the pre-credit sequence is just a black guy trying to drive an Aston Martin through central London. Someone seems to be shooting at us, Bond. I think it's the Met. I don't want to sound like I'm too down on racists here. Some of my best friends are racists. Although, to be fair, they're black and they've got a point. There's a kind of anti-refugee racism in there, especially in the summer. You know, you'd read about some guy rowing over here in a sink, and people would be going, oh, send him back. Don't send him back. There was an Olympics coming up. Get him involved. There's this element to anti-refugee racism. People say, oh, ISIS are sending agents disguised as refugees. ISIS are infiltrating Britain as refugees. That's not happening. And I can prove that it's not happening. Because ISIS recruit people from here to go and fight in Syria, to go and fight in Iraq. Why would they be sending anyone? Do you think someone's phoning up ISIS tomorrow going, all right, mate, I could nip down to London tomorrow and do a bit of terrorism? No, you come here. Ahmed will do the terrorism. Ahmed is currently clinging to a mattress in the middle of the Mediterranean. Ahmed will do the terrorism. It's no bother, mate. I can get a day return on the megabus. No! You come here through several strict border and security checks. Ahmed will do the terrorism. Ahmed is currently on a raft made out of old 7-Up bottles. He's fighting off sharks with a Veleda super mop. Ahmed is our top agent. And it's vital that he spends the next 5 years in a refugee camp, living out a real-life version of the Hunger Games, where the first prize is a sandwich.
I've got pets. I've got 2 cats and a dog. I'll tell you about those. My cats, they don't always get on. Sometimes they kind of chase each other. Looks a little bit aggressive. So what I do to kind of break that up, to kind of distract them, is we use a laser pen. You will have seen these. So the cats will be chasing each other around, then one or both of them will become transfixed by a little red dot that has appeared on the ceiling or the walls or the floor. And it's so effective that we've started using it in our own relationship. So I'll be saying something like, all I want you to do when you finish with your wet towels is put them in the... But whenever you introduce a new cat into a household that already has a cat, there's always a bit of aggro while they work out the hierarchy, then it settles down. The day I knew our 2 were going to be okay with each other was the day that I walked into our bedroom and they were lying on the bed like that. They weren't quite spooning, but it was good enough for me. I tell you, I'm behind them. Big Mama Spoon's getting on. I'll be the ladle. I don't know what that means. For about 2 minutes, it was utter perfection. And then Brodie leaned over to Ripley, the little girl cat, and just started licking her arsehole. I don't think Mama Spoon's supposed to be here for this, but she was brilliant, though. She was lying with her legs shut like that. As soon as he started licking her arsehole, she went, ah, that's lovely. I turned 41 this year. I like being in my 40s. Gives you a cheer if you're 40 and above. I like it. I don't give a shit about unimportant things anymore. I think that's what it boils down to. Quite a few things changed when I turned 40 last year. One of the things that changed is that I've stopped sniffing me leggings. I used to sniff them to see if I could get another day out of them. Whereas now, I just assume that I can. But I read on a proper form, a proper official document recently, the term women's problems. And I thought, in 2016, really, it says women's problems. And I thought, why doesn't it just say periods or menstruation? There's nothing wrong with those words. Just say there's nothing wrong with the actual thing. It's perfectly normal. It's natural. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's part of life. Seems peculiar to me. So I've decided to do, and you can come with me if you like, I've decided to bypass the word periods if people find it so offensive, and I'm going to say this instead. So somebody says to me, are you all right? I'm going to go, oh, I'm clotting. For periods are really horrible. It's such a bad reflection of how normal it is. So if clotting horrifies you, I get it. So I made up another one. This is a bit lighter, a bit more playful. Perhaps this will appeal to you more. This is it. It's WY week because I'm making jam. Do you get it? Do you get it? Some of you are more horrified by that than you were by clotting. And I think I have ruined afternoon teas for everyone. Sorry about that. But I read a really good statistic that said that 67% of women, so 2/3 of women, don't bath or shower every day. And my first reaction, because I bath or shower every day, my first reaction was, that's disgusting. My second reaction was to start sniffing my friends. And my third reaction was, well, if they're not doing it, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do mostly bath or shower every day, but every now and again, if I'm running late, or I've got an early appointment, or I've slept in, anything like that, I'll do instead what my mum would refer to as a flannel job. Now, this is a good tip for the women in the room who do have pubic hair. The next time you do a flannel job, if you do it in a circular motion, you can afro it right up. It's really fun. Proper bouffant going, if you like. That's not a joke. That's just a tip for you to take home and try. In a room of this size, at least be like 40 or 50 women tomorrow morning be like, I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to give it a go. Oh, massive pants.
I'm sure we'd all agree that the worst musical style is jazz. Right, you really differ with me. Jazz is the worst. I think it's the worst noise that human beings make. It's oral excrement. Oh, Sarah, is your dad a jazz musician? Shut up, my ex-boyfriend's therapist. This has got nothing to do with my... It's connected to my dad. A stressed offbeat just reminds me of being neglected. What else don't I like? Oh, there is a good part of an art gallery. It's called the gift shop. Pencils, sharpeners, postcards, but everyone is very disapproving if you run through the gallery yelling, gift shop! You're supposed to stop and look at some of the pictures. Why are we stopping and looking? It's not magic eye. I can see what they are straight away. Like dogs, a horse, a dead old rich person. Gift shop! Also, if you're one of the people who stops in front of one of the ones that's just a colour, stop pretending. I know you're not feeling anything. Oh, but Sarah, isn't stand-up comedy an art form? No, clearly not. Also, don't get me wrong, some people do stand-up exceptionally well, but you know that it isn't an art form because no one's ever had to explain to you what it means. It just works or it doesn't. It's a craft. It's either funny and it's stand-up comedy, or it's not and it's a TED Talk. It's good, and I like that I am a craftsperson. Because a craftsperson dedicates their life to getting better at something, at honing their skill. It's like if I was a chair maker and I brought out a chair and you sat on it and it supported your weight, well then that is good craftsmanship. If I bring out a chair and you sit on it and it collapses and you fall on the floor, that's brilliant comedy. What did you think I was a chair maker? I pranked you. I'm fun. That's the point I was trying to make. I'm really fun. Valentine's Day this year, I decided I was going to go to Paris all by myself. And that's because I'm a single woman. And also, I don't like the term single. I hate the term single. I prefer the term very, very lonely. The thing is, I don't like that we use... I think being single is the default. I don't like this whole idea that you're supposed to be in a couple. Human beings are meant to be sold separately. We're not Twixes, we're pepperonis. Whether you're in a relationship or not, you are alone. It's that cliche, of course, but you're born alone and you die alone. Asterisk, unless you are a conjoined twin, in which case you're born with somebody else, you freakish Twix. The only way that you're not alone is if you're one of those twins who grew round the other one while you're in the womb, but you might not even know. You might be sitting there thinking you're normal, and then one day you go for a scan and the nurse faints because your tumour has hair in her face. There's a whole thing, and you'll know this because you see comedy, but like people do like mean jokes, they do horrible jokes about people, and I always think, no, jokes just shouldn't be nasty about people unless they grew round their twin in the womb. I think they deserve everything they get. I think murdering someone by growing round them is one of the worst things a person can do. And if you did grow round your twin in the womb and you're sitting there thinking, oh, well, this is unfair, you should have thought about that before you engulfed your brother and kept him in your colon. My point was, I went to Paris. I went to Paris on Valentine's Day, didn't I? Because I thought, look, it's the most romantic city in the world. On the most romantic day, I thought it would be hilarious. I've got to write stand-up comedy. I thought it's going to be so funny. I'll be walking around weeping as people point, going, il est unlovable. And And I've been to Paris before, 3 times, each time with my ex-boyfriend. That's where we had our 3 biggest rows. First time, because 8 months into the relationship, I found out he had a horrible secret. He grew round his twin in the womb. Second time, we had a horrible argument because he wasn't into PDAs, or PDAs. That is public displays of affection, or private displays of affection. And the third time, we just felt an argument brewing and booked the Eurostar. This is my first time in Paris all by myself. The first thing I noticed was, when you're in a couple, you see the entire world behind their head. You're always looking at their lovely face. The world is a backdrop. When you take that person away, you see more world. So that's good. Yeah, you see more. You notice more stuff, like how rubbish some of the tourist attractions are. I went up the Eiffel Tower. If you're not kissing someone, it's just a high-up cage. It's not a good day out. But nothing funny happened the entire time I was there, which was 4 days. Nothing funny. Oh, so Sarah, why are you telling us? Because otherwise that trip is not tax deductible. I mean, it's awful, and you're covering it, and it's true. It's true.